All right, it is spooky season, and we are blessed with a new, terrifying show. It is called Welcome to Derry. It's from HBO, and it's a part of Stephen King's It franchise. You know, the one with Pennywise, the clown who gave us all nightmares. Look, we're getting into this and a couple of other movies that just came out. I'm Elamin Abdelmahmoud. This show is called Commotion. Beatrice Loayza is here, Laura Hall is here, and Sonya Ballantyne is here. Hello to all of you.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, I'm so happy that you're all here to do this with me. We're going to start the show with the trailer for Welcome to Derry. Have a listen to this.
We have 25 disappearances, 7 confirmed deaths, mostly children. Something bad's coming.
What is that?
I confessed to you that I was going to start the show, and then sort of, as I was approaching pressing the start button, I thought, I'm not ready for this level of horror yet. I need to take a minute. So that's the trailer for Welcome to Derry. The first episode is now out. Sonia, I'll start with you. How'd you feel about the first episode of the show?
I really liked it. There is often like a rule in horror that children cannot be like a victim in a horror movie. And one of my favorite things about this property is that yes, children are fair game, and I think that is quite a level of horror that really messes with people because like I do not have children, but I have important children in my life, and I find that this type of content gets worse when you're older. Like when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, let's beat up Pennywise. Or when I was younger, I was like, yeah, let's beat up Pennywise. But now that I'm an adult, I'm like, good gravy. These kids are going through like hell to get through this. And so I was really excited to see it. I really love the look of it right now. And I saw the trailer for the rest of the season, and I'm really excited to see it just because I love Joshua Ojic, who is recently in The Long Walk. And I can't wait to see who he plays on this show. So I'm really excited for it.
Yeah, there's something about particularly Pennywise and it in general. Like just like, you know, I just need to think about it in order for it to sort of like get under my skin, like more than any other sort of horror franchise. Laura, this is a show that is set in sort of small town America. The town is called Derry. We're in 1962. How do you think the time and place sort of inform what the show is trying to do?
Yeah, I found it really interesting thinking about the sort of post-World War II angst. Movies like The Town That Dreaded Sundown covers this kind of subject area where you've got the nice, largely white settler town. Everything's supposed to be idyllic. The family is there. Everyone's, getting along, but clearly there's something going on and there's something wrong. There's something in the water. There's something in the snow. There's something in the air. And so it's a really interesting setup. And it immediately introduces you to the, racism, classism, sexism that the kids are also up against. So there's Pennywise, but then there's people, right? And the family's a mess. The family is, the good old American family is birthing demons at this point. So it's a really neat introduction to Derry.
Well, I was going to say, Laura, like, I don't know how you did that, but that made me even more creeped out than the trailer. Like there's something in the air and there's something in the snow and there's something in the water. And now I'm like, oh, I'm definitely not going to touch the show. I'm having a bad time just hearing that description. Because there's a lot of Stephen King adaptations in general. Not a lot of people sit around going like, I need another Stephen King adaptation. But yet this one's kind of arrived to a lot of excitement. How do you feel, Beatrice, about this sort of new entry into Stephen King's sort of cinematic universe?
Yeah, I mean, the Stephen King adaptation is kind of hit or miss. I kind of saw it more as an extension of the last two It movies, which I thought were very solid. But I must say, I came in pretty skeptical. I don't think super highly of spin-offs or shows or movies that try to milk too much of a good thing. But I watched the pilot last night and was pleasantly surprised at how nuts it is. There's like an opening bit where like a Lost Boy character gets abducted, and the way that unfolded was just so bizarre and off the walls and unhinged. And frankly, I found it really unsettling. And, I feel like I don't get that surprised in horror movies, but this actually surprised me with every turn. I had zero clue what was going on, and that kind of extended to the end of the pilot. And that might sound like a bad thing, but in this case, to have me on my toes, as somebody that watches a lot of movies professionally,
Yeah.
is kind of a virtue. So, I'm not. I would say at this point, I'm not sure how scary I think it is because it's really outlandish. And it crams a ton of stuff in that first hour, which sort of added to the confusion. But I really appreciate the go for brokeness of it.
The idea that this is a show that is one, trying to do a lot, but also two, trying to remind you that, hey, there's this really successful franchise with Pennywise as clown sort of at the core of it. That's an ambitious thing to do. And also the idea that it can still surprise you and say, hey, I don't know what's happening here, but I'm enticed. I'm going to go ahead and call that a good review, I think. Laura, let me ask you about Pennywise, because to me, he is sort of like one of the mainstay sort of horror villains. He returns quite often. People refer to that particular villain a lot. Where does he rank in terms of like the all-time sort of horror villains for you?
Well, I actually felt like they kind of both in the miniseries and the two chapter remake movies, they kind of give you a little too much information about him. And he becomes he becomes lights, right? Like he's a shapeshifter. He's these dead lights. He's an alien entity. When you know less about him, he's a lot scarier.
Yeah.
And he's not Pennywise, right? He's anything you want him to be, anything that scares you. And that's what's scary. Like he could be, someone's very ill relative or something. So I think he's a lot less scary than I thought he was when I was a kid. I remember watching the miniseries and being scared to go to the bathroom, and staring at the bathroom sink.
Yeah.
And waiting for his voice.
We're not there anymore. We're not
there anymore. So I think they kind of gave away too much. But in the miniseries, they're almost somehow their challenge is to kind of reboot it and give you a little more mystery again. And it becomes a bit scarier. I always say Freddy's the scariest guy for me. Pennywise, Freddy doesn't stop. He never stops. But Pennywise can be stopped.
Right.
So, you start, I've been known to go to these haunted houses, in the middle of the wilderness and barricade doors and actors pounding on doors saying, let us in, we have a job to do. So I like to know, can the kids win? And I think they can win against Pennywise, but no one wins against Freddy. So I rank him a little lower.
It has occurred to me that I just in terms of where horror is, I live a very different life. In terms of just like where horror ranks and plays in my life. Laura, clearly you're the professional among us here. Like this is something that you take much more closer to the center of your life than I do, because I go, how do I not feel that horror again? Sonya, having said that, like, you watch this first episode, you're sort of introduced to this universe. Are you enticed to go further? Like, where do you want to see the story go from here?
Well, yeah, I'm like a huge fan of Stephen King. Like he was actually one of the reasons I started reading as a kid. Like I shouldn't have been reading so young, but like reading his books. But one of the biggest complaints about his writing is that he can't really write women or girls. Like his characters are always focused on boys. And one of the things I'm really excited about for this series is that it seems like it's going to be more focused on Pennywise's impact on women, on girls. Like two of the lead characters that we meet in the first episode are the like a little girl who has been to a mental institution, and another one who is like dealing with the fact that her dad was blamed for all the disappearances and stuff, and she's Black. And so I'm really excited to see that element of the show expand the universe in a way, because I do love Stephen King, but I'm like, like it'd be cool to see girls take on Pennywise this time, because even in the chapter movies, Bev is only seen as an extension of her father, or as an extension of the Losers.
Yeah.
And I think it's cool to have a female friendship in this universe and see how that impacts Pennywise's manifestations. Because I'm always really excited to see what kind of terror he can cause when it's not just boys thinking about like the wolf man and stuff. Like in the first movie, Bev having all that blood sprouting out of the tub and stuff like that. Like I want to see more of like body horror involving women, I guess.
I think what I'm hearing all of you say is, Elamin, you're an adult. Maybe perhaps you can watch this television show and have a good time. And I'm going to do it. We're going to leave it there on Welcome to Derry for now. That first episode is out on Crave. My name is Elamin Abdelmahmoud, and this is Commotion. Beatrice Loayza is here, Laura Hall is here, and Sonya Ballantyne is here. And now we're going to talk about an incredibly highly anticipated movie. It's called Bugonia. It's a dark comedy with some horror elements to it. Laura, I'll ask you to set this up for us for a moment. What is this movie about, and why are people so excited about it?
So I think a lot about spoilers, and I love spoilers. So I have to edit myself.
Okay.
So it's essentially about a woman, played by Emma Stone. So this is a big deal, right? When horror, which is a low form of quote unquote literature and film,
And this is
starts
Academy
drawing
Award-winning
Academy
Emma Stone.
Award-winning
Yeah.
Emma Stone, who
Yeah.
played Billie Jean King one time.
She did.
Really well, I have to say.
Yeah.
So she is this kind of workaholic. She's kidnapped. The trailer tells us this, so it's fine. She's kidnapped by a couple of conspiracy theorists. One of whom is anyway, I won't get into that. A couple of conspiracy theorists who think she's an alien. And so it's a bit of a horror sci-fi kind of tip of the hat. And there's that element of reality, non-reality, whose reality is the real reality. And there's a bit of a cosmology rewrite also in terms of, well, what is the alien cosmology? Who are these beings, and who are the conspiracy theorists? And of course, that parks us right in the current moment of being concerned about disinformation and a vast number of conspiracies that are so hard to keep up with.
I should also note it's the fourth collaboration between Emma Stone and Yorgos Lanthimos, and so there's a lot of sort of general excitement about that partnership, because she has really he's as a director sort of actor partnership, they've produced some really incredible work just in the last little while. Beatrice, there's also a lot of laughs in this movie, so the comedy comes a lot out of Emma Stone's character, Michelle Fuller. I just want to play a little bit of her performance.
We need to send the message that we have a new culture here now, where people should, yes, of course, feel free to leave at 5:30 and be with their families. No one is going to be overworked like in the past. No more unpleasant incidents. But, of course, it's not compulsory. And obviously, if people still have work to do, they should absolutely stay and continue to work. But it's not strictly enforced. Although, we still do want to meet quotas. So if we can do that with no pressure, just remembering, we are running a business here, so let your conscience guide you kind of thing. Yeah? Good?
I'll definitely let them know.
Great. New era.
Oh man, Emma Stone is so good. Okay, Beatrice, tell us a little bit about Emma Stone's character and where the comedy comes out of her approach to this character.
Yeah. I mean, Emma Stone really is one of our great actresses, and I think it is interesting. Her work with Yorgos has always kind of been straddling this bound between horror and comedy. Here, she's this extremely high-powered executive, and when she's accused of being an alien, you kind of understand what they mean. I mean, like what kind of human, has this workout, this job regimen? She's like sort of this perfect specimen, super intelligent, very tough. So you kind of understand where they're coming from, even though you obviously don't. And on the other hand, but I mean, this role feels like an extension of Emma Stone's role in The Rehearsal, which is this extremely cringe
The Nathan
mockery
Fielder
with
show.
Right, the Nathan Fielder show, where she plays an aspiring HGTV star.
So you mean The Curse, right? The Curse on Paramount Plus.
Oh my God, yes. I'm so
Nathan
sorry.
Fielder's
Yes,
also
The
been everywhere.
Curse.
Yes, 100%.
He's so,
yeah.
Yes, he's so prevalent.
Yes.
But yeah, Emma Stone playing these fake, shiny type A characters who move through the world kind of continuously putting on different masks that you can't ever really trust, these types of characters. And so with Bugonia, she moves through the world in like this similarly, pristine, perfectly manipulative way. Um, but like to her credit, it's both eerie and also like this is so uproarious and outrageous, like the way that she's just like constantly performing. Like, who is she actually?
Yeah, it's an incredible talent that she pulls off. I mean, she pulls off a similar sort of thing in Poor Things. I think, like also with Yorgos, is that like she can sort of telegraph a lot of different emotions with just a look, and like that's the thing that makes her one of our great actresses right now. And to that extent, Sonya, I want to play. There's another scene I want to play. And Emma Stone's character here, Michelle, has been kidnapped by two maybe conspiracy theorists. She sort of wakes up in the basement of one of them. Have a listen to this.
Where's my hair?
Your hair has been destroyed.
You shaved off my hair?
Yes, we've shaved off your hair.
Why have you shaved off my hair?
To prevent you from contacting your ship.
My ship?
Your ship.
What ship?
Your mothership.
Never a bad time when Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons are on screen opposite one another. Sonya, I know you went into this movie interested in the sort of the dynamics between men and women. Tell me how that played out in this movie.
Well, it was really compelling just because in the like this movie's based on a South Korean film called Save the Green Planet, where the Emma Stone role is played by a man, and I think the changing the gender really adds a level of fear and a level of terror to it that like might not have existed if it had been a male. I really like how I like this actually made me a huge fan of Emma Stone just because I love how terrifying she kind of is. Like even like there's one scene where she cries alone, and that's the only bit of weakness you see from her, well, weakness quote unquote. And so I really love the dynamic between her and the lead's conspiracy theorist, just because he starts doubting himself when he finally gets to speak to her. She is constantly trying to act like she is still the CEO, and I love how they shave her head and get rid of like her feminine power type thing, because like you see her at the beginning and her hair is all beautiful and coiffed and amazing, and they make her look like an alien, like covering her in like all that white cream and making her apply it, and like it was just so fun to see. But it was also added that little bit of a horror element because you see them kidnap her and inject her with a sedative, and it was kind of unsettling to see that, even though in one scene she does have the upper hand because she's trained as a fighter, right? We see her training, but it was just so creepy to see like these two buffoons able to take her down, and it was like what hope is there for the rest of us when I'm not trained in like martial arts and like they take her down. So but I really loved the dynamic between her and the lead conspiracy theorist, just because there's always this battle between them, and you never know who's winning. Because like whenever it seems like whenever she gets the upper hand, he reacts with anger and masculine anger and aggression. And it was just fun to watch. Like I came out of the movie last night not sure how I felt about it, and now that I woke up today and thought about it more, I'm like, I really liked it. Like I was still kind of nervous. I was worried to come on the show today and be like, well, Bugonia, that was a movie. So like, but I was like, really, I now the more I think about it, the more I like it, just because it was doing all kinds of it was like what Beatrice was saying about Welcome to Derry. Like the wildness and the off the wallness is what made it compelling to watch. And so I was really glad to have the opportunity to watch it, because I probably wouldn't have watched something like this before. And so I feel really blessed to have seen it.
No, honestly, I have to say that like I've not come out of any Yorgos and Emma Stone collaboration and said, I know I like that, right? Like I sort of needed a bit of time and a bit of, just like a minute to sort of process it. And then once you process it, kind of go like, oh, I really appreciate the things that they were trying to do there. Beatrice, just a real quick, you've described this movie as a sort of a horror of misinformation. But tell me a little bit about that. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, I mean, it's about the CEO versus like a lonely, pathetic conspiracy theorist, and him being sucked into sort of this dangerous mind hole with regard to why his life is so miserable. I mean, there's like a whole plot with like his mother and her connection to Emma Stone's company. So, it's about him looking for someone to blame. This urge in general to find someone to blame, I think, is very timely politically, with divisions in America, specifically the biases in the news, how people like fall into these deep, horrifying wells of disinformation that like warp their brains and like lead them on these paths to harm and violence. So in this sense, it felt very, in tune to the specific horrors of American political culture and the kind of bizarre extremities it can get into.
I'm compelled. This is the kind of horror I can handle, and so I will be making a bit of time for Bugonia. That movie is in theaters right now. And one more scary movie before we go. This one is a Canadian movie. It's called Dream Eater. It follows a young couple we go to a remote cabin in the Laurentian Mountains. Alex suffers from these increasingly violent sleepwalking episodes, and then his girlfriend, Mallory, starts recording it all as a documentary. Here's a bit of that trailer.
The doctor said some time away might be good for you. We're supposed to record any sleepwalking and what you remember from each episode.
Front door open.
Alex?
Come back to bed.
Found footage movies, just by a rule, are the scariest movies of all. Sonya, would you just real quick set up this movie for us? What's going on here?
So two filmmakers go out to the woods, which sounds like Blair Witch Project. They go out to the woods to kind of deal with the sleepwalking increasingly violent sleepwalking episodes of the boyfriend, and they often because of their background in film, they have these beautiful shots of the setting and the locations, and I really love found footage horror, and I really love that this one had an excuse for why they were filming, because I often hate in found footage when they have no excuse for why they keep filming, why they keep doing this. And it's like when things get increasingly horrible for the characters in this movie, you understand why they have to keep filming. It's because she has to document his behavior.
Yeah.
And so it was super fun to just watch that, because most of the time when I watch found footage, I'm always, as a filmmaker, I'm always like, man, that sound quality would not be as good if it was just a camera. It always takes me out. But I just loved it here, and I loved how the film is actually more about the crumbling of their relationship and the accusations he has about her wanting to restart her career by using him as her subject. And so it was just fascinating to watch. I really loved the camera styles. I really loved the location, and I think even though I had a bit of a hard time because the filmmakers are actually the actors in the film.
Yes.
And so occasionally that took me out, because there's a little bit of woodenness to some of the acting at the beginning. But I really love that once the film started to get going, that's when it felt like, oh, okay, I'm watching these people go insane in real time. So it felt good to see. Yeah.
I got about a minute left here, but Laura, it feels like Canadian horror has been getting a lot more sort of high-profile attention lately. Beatrice wrote a review of Dream Eater for the New York Times. This movie was also picked up for distribution by pretty big-time horror companies, like Eli Roth is distributing this, and yet it's only kind of lasted a week in Canadian theaters. It's not even out today, and today is Halloween. What's going on there, Laura?
Some of it, I suppose, is information sharing and kind of getting word out there. This movie references The Shining quite a bit. I think there's a lot of horror nerds who would really like it, who maybe didn't know about it. I also do think that I'm just a big advocate for more and more small theaters again. Bring back the small theaters. Bring back I talk a lot about the movies I really like Slashback and The Moth and Falls Around Her, and I saw those in indie theaters. So I think the big theaters, it's hard to sort of hold up when you've got a movie that is not the latest Paw Patrol film. My children love Paw Patrol, so there's no.
You don't have to say
there.
a nice thing about the Paw Patrol movie. That's totally fine. I got to leave it there, you guys. But I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. This has been really wonderful. Thank you again.
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. Beatrice Loayza is a freelance film critic in New York. You can read her work at the New York Times, Criterion Collection, and many more places. Laura Hall is an associate professor at Carleton University. She's also the author of a new book called Bloodied Bodies, Bloody Landscapes, Settler Colonialism and Horror. She's in Peterborough, Ontario. And Sonya Ballantyne is a filmmaker based in Winnipeg. My name is Elamin Abdelmahmoud. The show is called Commotion. We'll see you next week.